Keep the thoughts inside your head, the thoughts inside your head.
Is one who acts Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And why do I say unscrupulous? It's because an unscrupulous PI is one who acts unethically, violates laws, or abuses their position. Examples are failing to adhere to state laws regarding licensure and reporting, intentionally engaging in fraudulent, deceitful, or harmful behavior, refusing to disclose findings, or altering evidence. If you're concerned about a PI acting unethically, consider filing a complaint with the Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance for pursuing legal remedies. It is crucial to hire licensed and reputable investigators who operate transparently within the law. Now, we're going to be going over some of the Tennessee law related to some licensure and other information that I think everybody should be well aware of. Now, we're going to be discussing the laws specifically in Tennessee, and I'm just going to be reading verbatim the statutes themselves. Okay, it's not going to be rocket science. We're not practicing law here. We're just making sure that everybody is aware of the statutes and the way the statutes are. 5D, it's nice to see you. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing. I have watched quite a bit. 5D, War Damn Eagle, Black Hawk, you guys have been doing great at what you guys been doing. I heard on another channel that he was what? Hold on, Andrea. Let me go up here. Is it true Seth is fleeing? Oh, good gracious, no. Oh, good gracious, no. It's so funny. It's so funny how many people, when you hear this stuff, it's from a hate channel, guys. Quit listening to them. When I tell you that they've got nothing right, they've got nothing right. They've never gotten anything right. I mean, their assumptions even, are so far off base, it's not even funny. They're delusional. I don't know why people listen to them, because every time you guys come over here, it's just not true. Exactly. That's your number one problem right there, Andrea, because he is the worst. People think that dude is evil. Okay. He is slap evil. I don't know how to express it other than that. That man is evil. He is my ex. I know him well. He's an evil individual. He didn't always used to be this way, but once he got off parole, his whole demeanor of who he is has changed, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, no, that's not true. That compensation, financial or otherwise, from more than one party for services on or relating to the same investigation, set of circumstances, court case, or issues unless all interested parties consent in writing after full disclosure by the licensee. The licensee shall avoid all known conflicts of interest with his/her employer or client, and shall promptly inform his/her employer or client of any business association, interest, or circumstances which could influence his or her judgment or the quality of his or her service. When such a conflict is unavoidable, the licensee shall forthwith disclose the circumstance to his or her employer. Employer is client. So in this case, it would be the mom and the stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, allegedly. And we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. The licensee shall take responsible steps to ascertain the existence of potential conflicts of interest among his or her employer and or client. A conflict exists when a private investigator, because of some personal interest, finds it difficult to devote himself with loyalty and singleness of purpose to the best interest of his or her client or employer. A private event of one private investigator affiliated with the company and the client of any other private investigator affiliated with the company. 5, no licensee or inventing company shall be responsible for avoiding conflicts of interest between the company and the client of purpose to the best interest of his or her client or employer. A private investigating company shall be responsible for avoiding conflicts of interest between the company and the client of any private investigators affiliated with the company. The client of one private investigator affiliated with the company and the client of any other private investigator affiliated with the company. 5, no licensee or employer of licensee shall contact or cause to be contacted any individual under investigation for the purpose of revealing confidential information to that person. At any such contact with the subject being investigated, whether intentional or unintentional, shall be made part of the investigative file of such case. Interesting. A lot of people miss that. No licensee or employee of licensee shall contact or cause to be contacted any individual under investigation for the purpose of revealing confidential information to that individual. Pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. I thought this stuff was ultra important for everybody to understand the laws here. Again, I'm just reading them verbatim. I'm putting them up on the screen for all of you guys to read, and we're going to continue to read these things and discuss them. And the last one's going to be a little bit of a bombshell, because you're going to see in a nice, neat bow all the violations. Misconduct. 1175-04-.06. Misconduct. The licensee shall not knowingly associate with or permit the use of his/her name or firm in a business venture by any person or firm which he or she knows or has reason to believe is engaging in business or professional practice of a fraudulent or dishonest nature. The licensee shall not furnish any services in such a manner as to enable an unlicensed person to evade the licensure requirement of Tennessee Code, and this is something that I do believe has happened. The licensee and his/her employees shall not represent, identify, or suggest to anyone that they are associated with any law enforcement agency. For example, you can't call somebody and tell them that you are the lead investigator on the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. That implies you are law enforcement. And we have a recent post, several recent posts on X, stating, one, that he is just like law enforcement except in the private practice, implying that he has every single ability that law enforcement does, which is untrue. And the other one, where he states that he is a private practice investigator. I can't remember the terminology he used, but he did not say private investigator. He said, I can't remember the word he used. I'm gonna have to go back and check it, but it was implying he was an investigator, not a private investigator. Those are things that I see that could cause a lot of problems. And we've got those screen captures, but those are the types of things that I think would be contradictory to Tennessee law. The licensee shall not bill a client for services or expenses which have not been provided or incurred. A complete and comprehensive itemized statement of services and expenses must be provided to the client upon request. So if you've ever hired him, I would be requesting those itemized bills if he charged you, because we know his stick is going into these missing person groups, hunting for the next person missing a child, telling them he's going to be pro bono, and then, oh, if you want me to go out there, you've got to pony up $3,000, but never once providing them any receipts for service. Pretty interesting. That's a violation. Misrepresentation of qualifications and identity. The licensee shall not falsify or permit misrepresentation of his or her associate academic or professional qualification. He or she shall not misrepresent or exaggerate his or her degree of responsibility in or for the subject matter of prior assignment. Brochures or other presentation incident to the solicitation of employment shall not misrepresent pertinent facts concerning employers, employees, associates, joint ventures, or his or her past accomplishments with the intent and the purpose of enhancing his or her own qualifications, like I found 15 people in 1 year. B, produce and or use of any printed matter or promotional material, including but not limited to radio, television, internet, or printed advertisement, letterhead, business cards, or flyer, which do not bear the true names under which the licensee is licensed by the commissioner as a private investigator. Do we see his full name listed on his X profile? Because that is the internet. That is where he's conducting business. And according to the state of Tennessee, he must have his true name under which his licensee is licensed by the commissioner as a private investigator or an investigations company shall constitute misrepresentation. So by him failing to do that on all of his social media platforms, he already is misrepresenting himself, a violation of his license. The true name of the licensee private investigator or investigation company shall accompany any DBAs, AKAs, and alias name under which the licensee operates. Indicating a private investigator is affiliated or operating a company that is not licensed by the commissioner, or any printed material or promotional material, including but not limited to radio, television, internet, or print advertisement, like SF Investigates, shall constitute misrepresentation. A licensee may be deemed by the commissioner to be guilty of misconduct in his or her professional practice if A, he or she is convicted in a court of competent jurisdiction of a felony or misdemeanor which the commissioner finds reflective unfavorably on the licensee fitness for licensure, or B, his or her license or certificate of registration to practice private investigation in another jurisdiction is revoked, suspended, or voluntarily surrendered as a result of disciplinary proceedings. 7, a private investigations company shall be responsible charge of any private investigator's affiliate, such as company. In addition, a private investigations company shall be subject to discipline for any violations of the Tennessee Private Investigators License and Regulatory Act, and any rule promulgated thereunder committed by its affiliated private investigators if the company knows or should have known about the violation and failed to take timely preventative and or remedial measures. The original rule, you don't need to read that. Now we're going over to 0.07, and this is confidential client information. Now there's a whole